Close your eyes. Imagine yourself at 65. You're looking back at your 40-year-old self. What do you wish you had known? Can I repeat it for those who just joined? Imagine yourself at 65 years old. You're looking back at your 40-year-old. What would you wish that you had known? So here's the cosmic joke. Wealth isn't about money. It's about time, the moments you missed with family, the dreams that you postponed, the life you traded for paycheck. That gap is what wealth is. I have had the sad privilege of trying to help a family who was very, very wealthy, extremely wealthy family, like extremely wealthy family. If you're counting wealthy Africans, this individual will probably come like in the top 500. But they lost their children to drugs, to drug addiction. The man was always traveling, the woman was always having one engagement or the other. At the end of it, their children were addicted, and it was so difficult, to recover them. And so you may have all the money in the world, but if you lose family and you don't have time, and at the time that you're exiting the planet, all you have around you is money, but not people, then you were not wealthy. So let me ask you, how many of you have had that thought before, that if I could just make a little more salary, more income, more raise, I'll be okay, I'll be set. You can raise your finger. You can raise your finger digitally or raise your hand. How many of you have ever thought, if you could just make more, just a little more, I'll be set? I get it. I've been there as well. But this is the cold hard truth. The issue isn't about how much money that you make. It's about how you manage, how you grow and protect what you have. And most people, especially after 40, don't have a wealth structure in place. So you're still stuck in the cycle of earning and spending with no real plan. And that's where the problem lies. Building wealth requires a structure, especially in your 40s and after 40s. It requires a structure. And that's why today we'll be looking at the topic, after 40, more income won't make you rich. Here is a common sense plan that you can follow. So I'm going to share with you a very, very practical and actionable plan, especially if you're in your 40s, that will give you a structure for building wealth. Many of us in our 40s do not have structure. So wealth is just a series of events, for us. But you see, in everything in the universe, structure, form, and function always go together. So you can take form as structure. So structure and function always go hand in hand. So in this case, wealth is the function, but many of us don't have the structure to make that happen. And then one way you can look at form and function is to look at your body. So I believe all of us watching this video are human beings. So you have a structure. For instance, your skeletal structure. Your skeletal structure is a form. And because you have this skeletal structure, it supports the function, for instance, of holding the muscles, of moving the muscles, of movement. So without the skeletal structure, movement will be impossible for a human being. That's why actually even when you break certain bones, or when some parts of the body are amputated, you can't have that movement. You might have the phantom movements, but you can't have movement. Your movement will be restricted. Why? Because the structure has been restricted. It is exactly the same thing with your money. So trying to create wealth, especially in your 40s, without structure, is a big problem. It's like trying to move a human body without the skeleton. All right? So after 40, extra income won't save you. Why? Because without structure, you are just pouring water into a leaky basket, okay? So today I'm going to show you 4-step fix, a common sense plan, which is what I follow. And then as you're going to see, this structure will free you from a lot of things. This structure will protect you from having to look at your neighbors, what your neighbors have that you don't have, or comparing yourself with other people, which is the main source of frustration and problems for lots of people. Because you look at yourself, you look at your neighbor, you look at your colleague, he's riding a kind of car, a particular kind of car, 2025 model, but your own car is 2001. And then it begins to set up problems, for you, because you're looking at other people. But structure, when you have a structure to create wealth, to manage it, to invest it, it gives you peace of mind. So let me introduce you to that structure. So I have called them 4 P's, and I'm going to introduce you to the 4 P's of generating wealth, especially after you're 40. Okay, so let's start with the first P, which is purpose. So this is where everything begins, with the purpose. You need a why. Why do you want to build wealth? That is a mistake that many people make. They just go ahead and then start pursuing money to chase money, but they never sit back to say, why am I pursuing wealth? Okay, so you don't just chase money with no reason behind it, because that's what most people do. They chase money without target. But purpose turns wealth building from a chore to a mission. So make a note of that. Purpose turns wealth building from a chore, or from even a competition with the Joneses, with your neighbors, into a mission. So your why isn't a goal, it's a portal. And for many of you who are spiritually minded, you know that portals are very, very powerful things, because portals, so wealth is a portal. Your purpose is a portal that opens the realms of wealth and abundance to you. I want what I said to sink in. So your purpose is a portal that opens the gates of abundance. So when money serves love, when it serves legacy, when it serves liberation, it stops being a burden. And then money comes alive. So type purpose. That's the first P. Okay, so let's take a practical example. So imagine 2 people who are saving $1,000 every month. Okay, the person A says, I guess I should just save. I guess I should save. All right? The person B says, this is for my daughter's college fund. This $1,000 a month is for my daughter's college fund. Who do you think will succeed? Who do you think will hold on when the going gets tough? Of course, the person who has a purpose tied to it. So I want every one of you to drop your why in 3 words. Drop your why for building wealth in 3 words. So your words could be something like freedom, it could be something like family, it could be something like legacy. So I want to see everyone drop your word. What is your why? I want you to sit back and think, what is your why for building wealth? Why do you wake up every morning? why do you leave your house? Why do you wake up and leave your house every morning? Okay, so Kelvin says freedom and legacy. Okay, Augustine says family. Yeah, everyone, drop your why. Why are you building wealth? Drop it in 3 words. Okay, so Augustine, you've said family. I need 2 more words. Kevin, I need 1 more word. All right, so everyone do that, okay? And so the exercise for purpose is to complete the sentence, I am building wealth so I can, and then you really need to complete that. I am building wealth so I can. Please do not leave this session without thinking about the purpose of why you're building wealth. Because you see, when people don't have purpose, that's what makes people put their hands into all kinds of things that they shouldn't. And they compromise their values, they soil their conscience because they are just making money by all means, okay? But that's not what it is. So I'm building wealth so I can, so fill that blank. That's going to be your anchor. Now, the second P is plan. And that is the map that most people skip. So type plan. The first P is purpose, the second P is plan. So now that you know why you are doing this, the plan is where many people fall short. They think that the more money they make, the better. But without a plan, you will just end up wasting the money, wasting your income, or getting stuck in bad habits. You see, any wealth, any money that comes into your pocket that you do not send on assignment defaults to pleasure. Any money that comes into your life, into your bank account, and you do not immediately send it on a mission, it defaults to pleasure. And that is why any more money doesn't cut it. Any more money is not just what it is. And see people who actually earn lots of money. They earn more money and more money and more money. But their pockets are always dry. Why? Because there is no plan. A dream without a plan is a wish. And so what many of us are carrying around that we call financial dreams are mere wishes. And then remember, you know, that old English saying that if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. You know, but, and then most plans are just, I'll figure it out. That's not what a plan is. It's not, I'll figure it out. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Japanese Ikigai principle. There's the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what pays you. It is at that intersection that you have a plan. And this is what you get in the Financial Fitness Challenge, where you implement all these 4 Ps. Because you see, if you're a teenager or you're 20s and you're just pursuing money, and then money, income, and all that, they're just isolated events, maybe you can get away with it. But after 40, you don't have a structure to earn, to manage, and to invest your money. That is disaster. That is red flag, okay? So a plan isn't a spreadsheet. Most people think, okay, it's just a spreadsheet. A plan is not a spreadsheet. A plan, it's a prayer. Please type that in the comment section. I want that to sink in. Many times we think about praying and we just say words, but we don't give consideration to the imagination that goes with the prayer. Because if your words are saying one thing and your imagination is saying a different thing, that prayer is not going to be answered. And then when you have a plan that you visualize and it's always before you, you look at it every day, it is a prayer. That's what makes planning very powerful. That's why most people who actually take time to plan succeed. Because prayer, every prayer is answered. He said, ask, and it will be given. So a plan is not a spreadsheet. It's a prayer which says, I trust myself under God to honor my future self. And it's a very powerful prayer. So you've got to have a plan. So now that's the second P. We've talked about the first P, which is purpose. We've talked about the second P, which is the plan. You've got to have a plan. So a practical example could be that you wouldn't drive to a new city without GPS. You wouldn't drive to a new city without GPS. In those days before we had GPS in cars, and I would travel to the United States, I used to work for with an American company, Chevron. And I would drive from place to place. In fact, on one occasion, I had to drive all the way from New York to Toronto across the border, to see my younger brother who lived in Toronto at the time. And it was difficult. On one of those drives, I missed my way and drove, because it was in the night, and drove for over 100 miles and got lost. So I was supposed to be going west. I went east and kept driving. And in those days, in the US when I'm there, many times so you buy a map, a physical map, which you use. And usually it's very difficult, coordinating physical maps and then being on the highway. Very difficult, So I typically would pull by a gas station and then read the map and all that. So there was this particular stretch. I did over 100 or almost 100 miles and then had to come back. So it's the same thing with your money. If you won't try to navigate a new city without GPS, why do you do that with your money? So a bad plan says, I will invest someday. What is someday? But a good plan, a real plan says, I will automate $500 a month into index funds. And then for those of you in America, max my 401k match, and then cut $200 per month from unused subscriptions. So that is a plan. It's specific, it's measurable, it's actionable, okay? So your action step for the second P, which is plan, is grab your phone, maybe when we are done, or if you have your journal close by, and then write number one, what is your target number? How much wealth do you need? Number two, deadline, by when? And number three, the income expense levers. Where will the money come from? So you've got to think about that, okay? All right, step number three, the third P. The third P is process. So everyone type that in the comment section, process. And then while you are typing that, if you haven't given us a like and you really like this information and you're getting value, please press the love button. I would appreciate that. And then if you're listening to us and then you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. And then also share this video so that people who need this information can get access to it. So thank you very much. I see you, some of you have pressed the love button. Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you. Okay, so the step number three is process. The step number three is process, all right? The first one is purpose, second one is plan, and then the third one is process, okay? So the process is your step-by-step system of managing, growing, and multiplying your wealth. It's got to be a process. So think of it like a recipe, for success. Wealth isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in tiny, repeatable habits. Process is important. So some of you have a plan on how to make it happen, but you don't have a process. Like, what do you wake up every day doing? A farmer doesn't just every day yank crops from the soil, for instance, to check whether it has germinated, to check whether it is doing well. No, a farmer doesn't do that. I'm a farmer. Then some of you listening might also be farmers. But what does a farmer do? He's got a process. Every day he tends it, he waters it, he tends the plants, he removes the weed and things like that. It's exactly the same thing with your money. Your money you need to tend it, you need to water it, you need to have a process for it to compound into abundance. So your net worth isn't a number. It's a measure of your discipline to stay true to yourself. Somebody should type that in the comment section, and I think I'll wait for it to sink a little bit. Your net worth is not a number. Usually when we talk about net worth, and then we're looking at, okay, Mark Zuckerberg's net worth, 100 and something billion, Elon Musk, 300 and something billion, Bill Gates, 100 and something billion. But it's much more than that. If you look beyond that number, you will see a discipline that made these men what they are today. So a lot of people look at the outcome, they look at the finished product, they look at when these people are already on stage, but they don't consider the discipline that went unnoticed, that were done in the dark. And then before you see all this wonderful thing. I mean, it's like football players, soccer players, when they come to the field, they mesmerize all of us with their skills. So some of you have watched Mercy, some of you are even addicted to watching Mercy skills, and some of you like Cristiano Ronaldo. I think I personally like Neymar Jr., and then there was Ronaldinho, of course, who's retired a long time. And I particularly like them for their display of skills. It's just incredible, How have you felt when you see these great soccer players, displaying awesome skills? We enjoy it, we applaud them, but we do not know what these people do, the hours they spend. I hear that Ronaldo spends 2 extra hours every day after his team finishes training. So when he comes out, he plays so fantastic, like almost magical, and then everybody admires it. So we admire what happens in the pitch, but we must give consideration to what actually happens before the pitch. Is exactly the same thing with the money. We applaud Elon Musk, we applaud Bill Gates, we applaud Richard Branson, we applaud Dangote, we applaud all these people. But have you taken time to find out the process, to find out the daily disciplines of these people? Do you know what they do? At 3 a.m., I met with one of them who wakes up at 3 a.m. every single day, goes to the gym, then does a lot of writing and things like that. And nobody sees that, but we only see their money. We only see their money, okay? So Warren Buffett, for instance, spends 80% of his day reading and thinking. That's what he said. Okay, the guy is gradually retiring. He should be in his early 90s now. So you don't need 80%, but you need 20 minutes, okay? So a bad process is I'll check stocks. When I remember, I'm giving you some examples of bad process. Some people say, I'll check stock. I'll check my stocks when I remember. No, you don't do that. But a wealth building process says every Monday, I would transfer $30, $300, $1,000 to my investment, and then review my budget every day for 15 minutes. That's a process, okay? So you can have something like Money Mondays, Money Tuesdays, a particular time where you check how your wealth is doing, okay? So right now, set a weekly money date on your phone. You see, so many people don't realize how important it is to set time and process for their wealth. For their wealth. Sometimes people join the Financial Fitness Challenge and they are so busy. They do not do the assignments. They do not fill the worksheets. They do not partake. And I'm like, what in the world is more important than working on your future and working for the future of the people you love, you care about? What is more important than that? What is more important than working on your wealth? What? It's more important than your 9 to 5. And then some people think that the 9 to 5 job is working on their wealth. It doesn't. If you are not following a structure like these structures I've given you, Your 9 to 5 is a waste of energy, waste of time, and waste of money without structure. But you see, your 9 to 5 will assume a better dimension, will assume some measure of power when you have a purpose behind why you wake up every morning to go to that job. When you have a plan, when are you going to exit that 9 to 5 for this? And then while you are there, how are you going to be turning your active income to passive income to facilitate early exit from 9 to 5? That's a plan. Then you've got to have a process. What's the discipline that will make that happen? So take time to work on your wealth. There's nothing more important than that, because if you get into your later years, your 50s and 60s, and you've run out of money, and then you've also run out of the capacity to generate money, you will suffer, and there's going to be a lot of regret. So take the things I'm telling you to do very serious. Take the videos and the things I've been teaching you. There are over 600 videos on my channel, and they are rich like this ones. They are very actionable. They are very relatable, because I speak from my journey. I'm not telling you theories. You need a structure for your wealth, especially after 40. You need a structure. You can't afford to be doing it haphazardly, just randomly. Today, you're into real estate. The next day, you're into Bitcoin. Next day, you're into Forex. No, that's not a structure. You're not going to get wealthy that way. You're not going to be able to retire that way without structure. The final step in the 4 P's is patience. Please type it. Patience. All right? Patience. That's the final P. So just to recap, the first P is purpose. The second P is plan. The third P is process. And then the 4th P is patience. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Nelly. Nelly has written that. Kevin has written that. Okay, purpose. Okay, patience. So this is where most people in their 40s and 50s fall. They plant a seed on Monday, and then they dig it up on Wednesday and wonder why it's not a tree. Like in the Financial Fitness Challenge group, I have started making stock recommendations. Last week, I recommended 7 stocks that I know that in the next 3 years, they are penny stocks. Because I created a strategy. I have this process. I follow my 4 P's as well. So part of my plan is to I use a couple of stockbrokers, but I'm most active with 2 of them, 2 licensed stockbrokers. On one, I focus on penny stock. On the other one, I focus on blue chips, the diamonds. Now, so there are penny stocks that I identified through my research, 7 of them. One of them is about 2 naira 90 kobo right now. I guarantee you that in the next 2 to 3 years, you will not get that stock at 30 to 50 naira. And that's how people have gotten very wealthy. Just 2 or 3 years ago, people bought UBA at 8 naira. Today, as we talk, it's almost 40 naira. I bought GT Bank at, I bought some. I've been doing dollar cost averaging. I bought some at 13. I bought a lot of them at 18 naira. GT Bank is almost 70. This is how wealth is built, with patience. You see, but if I had sold them off, just maybe because the market was going down and then the economy, and I sold them off, it wouldn't be. You can imagine going from 18 naira to 70 naira. And this is just in 3 years. So there's that patience element. And many people in their 40s, sometimes they panic in their 40s and 50s. They panic. And it's like, oh my goodness, this boat has left me behind. I have missed out. I should have started investing, when I was in my 20s. Oh my goodness, now I'm 45. I'm approaching 48. And I need to catch up. And then in the process, they sidestep patience, the fourth P. But patience and wealth building are first cousins. You cannot build wealth without patience. You can't plant today and dig up the seed tomorrow. But see, modern life screams faster, faster, faster. Instant coffee, instant everything, instant love, instant. Faster, 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 faster. And it's a big problem. You see, Warren Buffett said, you cannot have a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. You can't just wake up and say, oh my goodness, I can't wait for 9 months to have a baby. 9 months is a long time. You know what? Okay, let me make 9 women pregnant so that I can have a baby in 1 month. In other words, 1 month for each of the women you made pregnant. 9 months. No, you can't. You can't. And wealth is the same way. So even if you're 50, you still need the element of patience. Even if you're 60, you still need the element of patience. You see? So modern life says, screaming, faster, faster, faster. But the universe whispers, everything blooms in its season. Type it in the comment section. Everything blooms in its season. You have to understand times and season. There is summer, there's winter, there's spring, there's fall. It's never changed. It's never going to change. There is sowing and reaping. There's seed time, there is harvest time. It has always been like that from the foundation of the world. But you see, what a lot of us are trying to do, when it is seed time, we are trying to harvest. We're trying to harvest. And then many people to actually even go ahead to harvest when they have not sowed. Okay, I don't want to talk about politicians, but a lot of people harvest when they have not sowed. But you see, wealth has a mystery. It always catches up with them. Now, impatience is just ego. Impatience is ego. The part of you that thinks that you're separate from the flow of time. Can you imagine that? I don't know what confuses us sometimes or what makes us think that we are very, very separate from the flow of time. Time and chance, time happens to all of us. And so patience is a very important part of wealth building. So I might not see you physically where you are right now, but I need you to do something that will transform you and transform me. So I just want you to place your hand over your heart where you are right now. And then after doing it, I'm going to ask you how you felt after doing that. Place your hand over your heart right now and then say after me, I trust the timing of my life. And I'm going to tell you why this is powerful. Put your hand over your chest, over your heart, and say, I trust the timing of my life. Say it and then also type it in the comment section. So now I want to pause and ask you, when you put your hand over your heart and said, I trust the timing of my life, tell me how it felt. Tell me how it felt. Yes, I trust the timing of my... Tell me how it felt when you uttered those words. Those words are powerful. I trust the timing of my life. Yes. How did you feel when you did that short exercise? How did you feel? Okay, tell me. Yeah. Kelvin, Stephen, Joyce, Olubukola, Enyi, Calvin. Yeah. Calvin said it felt introspective. Stephen says he felt relief and confidence. Yes. And Olubukola says at peace. This is powerful. This is how wealth is created. Real wealth. Forget all those things that people see that they show you on social media. Simple exercises like that. So if you felt peace, you felt relief, you felt confidence, how about if you wake up every morning and then you place your hand over your heart And then you say gratitude, to God, because he is there, and say, thank you. And you say, I trust the timing for my life. It gives you relief. I like that Stephen said that it gave him relief. Because when you trust the timing of your life, you will stop comparing another person's journey with your own. Some people build their wealth at 30. They write a program. It's like the young Nigerian in the US, who developed Calendly. Calendly, okay? So some of you know the app Calendly. I think it was a Nigerian, but maybe American citizen or something. And then I don't recall how much that thing was bought of him or things like that. So some people, very early, create wealth. For some people, it happens in their 30s. For some people, it's in their 40s. And they make all the mistakes. Like in my own, I trust the timing for my life. I made so much mistakes that came out of a place of ignorance. All the time I was working with Shell, working with Chevron, and back to Shell, making huge money. And that was when the Naira had value, making a lot of money. And then I never turned those things, I never turned the active income into passive. I made mistakes. And then I took all of the family's savings in excess of $100,000 after I left Shell, as I was leaving Shell, and put it in Nospetco, put it in another useless quick scheme called Wealth Zone. That's how $100,000 went. I made stupid mistakes. But do you know, I trust the timing of my life. If I hadn't had those experiences, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I am today, encouraging millions of people around the world. Because across social media, I get up to 5 to 10 million views of my post every single month. And people are contacting me from everywhere, from Fiji, from St. Lucia, from places, I never even imagined, from Guyana, from the Caribbean, of course, from America, from Sweden, from all over the place. And people are getting helped. People are getting liberated. People are finding hope in their situation because I'm able to share my story that I made these errors in my 40s, in my 50s, and I had to start all over again in my 50s. So I'm not only enjoying the journey, but you see, I trust the timing of my life. I trust the timing of my life. So do not forget that, okay? So let's recap in closing. The 4 P's is the common sense plan for building wealth after your 40s. After your 40s, earning more income does not make you rich if you do not have the structure that I have just shared with you. So the first P in the structure, the 4P structure, is purpose. That is your why. The second P is plan. That is your map. All right. So you can actually type it in the comment section so that other people can see it. So purpose equals your why. Plan equals your map. Process equals your habits. And patience equals your superpower. That's amazing. That's amazing. Do you want me to repeat it? Because I really want that to sink in. So the first P, purpose, equals your why. Second P, plan, equals your map. Third P, process, equals your habit, or equal your habits. And then P, the last P, patience, equals your superpower. So your patience is your superpower, okay? And the 4 P's are not just steps, okay? They are sacred vows. And then so what are the vows? So let me give you 4 vows that these 4 P's represent. Purpose is a vow to your soul. Oh, I love this. I love this, okay? I love teaching. I love sharing, my life's experience. So purpose is a vow to your soul. Plan is a vow to your future. So you can capture this as quickly as you can. A purpose is a vow to your soul. Plan is a vow to your future. Process is a vow to your discipline. And patience is a vow to the universe. Remember, because you said, I trust the timing of my life. So no room for regrets. The future is still before you, and incredible things can happen. Things unbelievable can happen just at the snap of the finger as you're following the structure. So after 40, wealth isn't built, it's revealed. Layer by layer, as you align with the truth of who you are. And so, when best than to build the real wealth after 40? Okay, so I want to give you an ultimatum. So you can leave today, you can finish watching this video or leave this session and go back to hoping and go back to all these random things you've been doing today. Bitcoin today, they say, oh, it's Bitcoin. You go to Bitcoin. Today, they say, oh, is this meme coin? You go to the meme coin. Next day, they say, oh, real estate is a happening thing now. You go into real estate. No structure. You can do that, or you can commit to the 4 Ps. One path, the path of random, leads to regret. The path of the 4 Ps leads to freedom. So type in the comment section, I commit to the 4 Ps. All right. So if you want to make this promise and leave this place today and determine that you are going to commit to this structure, instead of random, type in the comment section, I commit to the 4 Ps. So that as you're saying it, I'm holding you accountable and the universe is holding you accountable. I commit to the 4 Ps. So don't kill yourself. Don't worry so much. Don't pursue wealth at all costs. Just follow this structure. You will amaze yourself. You will make the wealth, and then peace will come with it. Because there are so many people who have wealth and they don't have peace. Me, I do not want to have that kind of wealth. Okay, so now, if you haven't joined the Financial Fitness Challenge, so many people reach out to me for help. And so what I have done is create this Financial Fitness Challenge. It's a monthly mentorship. So each class lasts for 3 days of wealth acceleration, income acceleration. But before the 3 days, there are a series of exercises and interactions with me and worksheets I give you. So sometimes I do a video like this and I have a worksheet. For instance, there is a PDF titled the 4P checklist. And you really need that checklist. You really need to be able to hold that checklist. And then you talk about purpose, the checklist for purpose. You talk about plan, there's a checklist for that. You talk about process, there's a checklist for that. You talk about patience, there's a checklist so that you can implement. You get all these worksheets, okay? Like those of you in the Financial Fitness Challenge group already, you are going to get this worksheet by this time tomorrow, before tomorrow's session. So if you would like to join my paid mentorship group, now you can do it in 2 ways. You can do it on your own, and you have all the resources. Like these videos are great, believe me. And then some of you tell me so, that your lives are being changed. So you can actually watch the videos and implement them by yourself, like implement the 4P. Or the second option is to have me help you to implement the lessons. That's why we have the Financial Fitness Challenge. So in the description, you're going to find a WhatsApp number. Actually, let me give it to you. All right. So you send, it's paid for. Okay, it's not free. It is paid for. It's 125,000 Nigerian naira or $125. But there is an early access fee going on right now that cuts out 20,000 naira. So it's 105,000 Nigerian naira or $105. And if you want to enroll today, because we are really upbeat in the group, we're really upbeat, conversations like this, and then worksheets like today's worksheet, you're going to get it. Just type, send me payment details, and send it to +234 8088 000 111. So if you picked it, you can type it in the comment section for other people, okay? So +234 8088 000 111. Say, send me payment details, and then you're going to receive it immediately, and then you can get started in the mentorship group because it's already live and kicking. And we're going to have the live coaching sessions on the 28th, 29th, and 30th of this month. And then typically the last weekend of every month, we have the Financial Fitness Challenge. So you can join this month, you can join next month, but the process is the same. All right, so it's been my wonderful pleasure, sharing this common sense plan that you can follow. After 40, more income won't make you rich. Here is a common sense plan that you can follow. That's what we've been discussing today. And I do hope you found value in it. And please, before we sign off, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would definitely appreciate it when you do so and hit the notification bell so that whenever we are live, you can do that. And then feel free to ask me questions under this. I can always answer questions in the next session. We hold this every single evening, same time. And so, whatever happens, keep showing up. Don't be discouraged. Don't be in regret. Don't feel guilty. Whatever mistakes you've made in your money life or how old you are, do not feel fear, worry, or anxiety. I assure you, you're going to be okay. And I will see you same time tomorrow.